Let me break this down. Can education be anchoring? I think so. I'm building my second course. I have my building safety anchors, which is more bottom up, but I'm building another building safety anchor. So I'm working on another building safety anchors, which is top down. And a big part of that is education. And part of that is polyvagal theory, but also learning about attachment, learning about what else do I have in there? The way you were raised, not just attachment, but like parents, what they went through, all these different things that we can learn to help us get a broader understanding of our lives. It's not exactly like a direct anchor in the moment. It's more of this knowledge base. And so in that sense, I think it can be anchoring. Having an accurate understanding of who we are and why we are can provide this cognitive foundation for further, work or further anchoring. Plus, it's like when you learn this stuff, there is this sense of reduction in judgment, which means there's a reduction in defensive energy. I mean, so many people who have learned polyvagal theory have felt that or reached out to me and told me that they their self judgment reduced significantly. They became more curious about themselves. So yeah, I do think that having this platform, and I mean like, foundations, this foundational knowledge is not a direct anchor in the moment of a crisis, but it does help to reduce overall general defensive energy, defensive states, the intensity of the defensive states. It's I think it's a healthier platform foundation, as long as what we're learning conforms to reality, as long as it's a closer description to reality. So if I'm teaching you about uh, you know techno organic fairies that live in your brain, it's a new platform, it's a new foundational knowledge, but it doesn't really conform to reality as far as we can tell. So it might not be helpful. It would probably cause more confusion and distrust. Well, in me, but maybe in therapists in general. So whatever we learn has to be closer to reality as best as we can tell, or at least maybe to our sensory experiences of reality, maybe at least. But it has to make sense and it has to click. It has to conform to what we experience. And so, yeah, in that sense, it's anchoring, but it's not this. I wouldn't say it's a direct cognitive anchor in the moment of a crisis. Let me continue on with that comment here. Can education be anchoring? So yeah, I think so in general. But it's more foundational. It's more foundation building, I think. Learning about the polyvagal theory and knowing that saying these things to myself isn't okay, and it's basically just a cruel way for me to respond to my own suffering, and that's a reframe. It's kind of a reframe. It's seeing what we do to ourselves and having a better understanding of why or the mechanics of that. So it's not just something we do. We don't just beat ourselves up mentally, but it's Storyfellow state, and that comes from a polyvagal state. And the issue is not the thoughts exactly. The issue is the state that I'm in. So it's a more accurate, less judgmental, more normalizing way of understanding ourselves. And it doesn't respond. It doesn't rely on. It's like when we have if we don't have the foundational knowledge, but we have the thoughts in our brain of, man, I'm so stupid, I shouldn't be having a panic attack right now. That just kind of stays there, just kind of floats there. You know what I mean? So having the new foundational knowledge kind of eliminates that in a lot of ways. It undercuts it, and it can help to build a foundation for more genuine curiosity and less impulsive like evaluation. So I feel like for me, educating myself about how I don't have to feel shame when my autonomic nervous system goes into shutdown or mobilization has been anchoring. Yeah. I also have a background in Buddhist thought. So I think the whole grace and equanimity, meaning meeting hard stuff with balance, has come a little bit easier for me. It's hard stuff to understand. That makes sense. It totally makes sense. And grace, so when it comes to grace or self-compassion, there's been other like popular things around that in the wellness space. Positive thinking. These are, yeah, it's super helpful. It's great, but it doesn't happen unless you're anchored enough in your safety state. It doesn't happen. So even when it comes to the like that Buddhist thought, which I'm not nearly enough not near enough well versed in. So when it comes to that of having grace or equanimity, cool, yeah, absolutely. But that doesn't happen unless we are well regulated enough, and then it can be helpful. Doesn't always work, and then I take a pause and try again when it feels safe. Are you sure we don't have? Are you sure we don't have fairies up there? I can't disprove it. So do what you want with that. I can't disprove it. Being educated gives me an explanation for what's happening to me, so I don't feel like I'm going crazy or a freak of nature. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's a foundational platform. So it's a foundation for viewing yourself and the stuff we've been through or the stuff we're currently going through, and it's a different way of it's a healthier, I think, a healthier, more accurate foundation for understanding ourselves. Yeah. And that it's funny, the techno organic, or maybe it's not funny, but the techno organic fairy sprites is something I used in my upcoming course, Building Safety Anchors Top Down. And that's really about like the foundational knowledge about, reducing the intensity of our defensive energy.